Hello everyone, I'm Marcy, and in this video I'll be decorating not one but two sketchbook covers, though they'll both be going in the same sketchbook. I'll explain later, as well as the inside covers and the first pages. So if that's something you'd like to see, then stay tuned. So the sketchbook I got for this project is this Canson Mixed Media XL. They've recently changed these to have the rings on the short side, but I've still got one of the old ones here, and I want a sturdy cover on it, which it does not have right now, so that's the first step. I covered all the edges with black spray paint to make sure there won't be any white or blue showing later, and then I added a layer of thicker paper to the cover. This paper has a beautiful leathery texture that's actually going to work against me later, but it's okay. Here I am painting it black. When that's done, I'll be adding stickers to this side. Here's everything that's going on there, with the Instagram handles of all the shops and creators so you can look them up. I ultimately decided that I needed to add stars to this, so while I do that, here's a little tip for making all these stickers look harmonious on your cover. The first and most obvious thing is to pick ones that have colors that already go together. But what also helps a lot is to have each sticker facing the middle. Like on my cover, all the stickers on the left are looking or pointing to the right, and the ones on the right are all looking or pointing to the left. And that's why it looks balanced. I was quite happy with the way this turned out, and I wish I could have left it like this, but I actually want this book to last me quite a while, so I decided to laminate it. And this is where that paper texture decided to work against me. It's not too terrible though. And with that cover done, let's flip to the other side. This is the back of the book, flipped upside down, and right now it only has some gesso on it, but I'm about to add a pattern, and while I do that, I'll explain why this sketchbook has two covers and what I'm gonna do with it. I called this a sketchbook before, but this is actually a commonplace book. And a commonplace book is normally a sort of notebook where you gather all kinds of information that you find that you want to keep, but that doesn't necessarily go within a single topic. And that is what I will be doing with one of the sides of this. For me, it'll most likely be a lot of recipes, quotes, memory keeping. But because I'm also an illustrator, I thought it would be nice to also gather artistic inspiration, things from movies, books, video games, other artists, probably a lot of magazine clippings as well. And I think it'd be nicer to have those just entirely separate. So I'm starting one topic from one side and the other topic from the other. But let's get this cover done first. I'm making this simple but cute pattern with mostly acrylic wash and then some acrylic markers as well. And I also have some tips for creating a pattern. Color palette is again the obvious. Mine is all warm and bright colors, and that's why they go together. But the other thing to keep in mind is visual balance. So if you wanted to draw people's eye to a particular part of your pattern, then you would want to make that piece more noticeable. For mine, I wanted them to all be about equal when it comes to that. So they're all about the same size and about equally busy. And that's what makes it all look balanced, like the other cover before. By far the most time-consuming part of this one was adding the background color around all these elements, but I'll mostly leave that out for you because it's also not that interesting to watch. And here it is finished. This thick marker wasn't entirely ideal for these tiny veins on the leaves, but I'm overall pretty happy with this, and this one reacted a lot better to the plastic being added to the top. Now that we've got both covers finished, let's start working on the inside. I decided to add a Halloween-themed scrapbook paper to the inside, which will hide the edges of that plastic nicely. I am using up this extremely strong sticky tape that is meant to go underneath carpets. And while I'm sticking that down, I want to warn you about adding spray paint to the inside of your sketchbook or any ring binding that you might have, because I did that, and now both my front pages are stained. And it was dry, it just rubbed off, and I didn't know what was gonna happen, so it's going to be a little bit of extra work later to stick new front pages in there, so learn from my mistake. For my first page, I wanted to add a title with a nice repeating border, so what you're looking at now is the completed design I'll be adding to the rest of the edges. I'll be doing that with my sun lamp that you can see now. I'm folding it to copy the design to the other side, and then I'll fold it the other way to copy the other half. And the reason I'm making this is I absolutely love the covers on the Life Note notebooks, but I've never had one, and they're a little pricey to try without knowing if it's gonna work for what I want to do with it. So just as an aside, if anybody wants to trade me a single sheet of that stuff for a sticker or something, let me know. But I decided to do a design based on the look of that cover. When I copied the design to all 4 corners, I then traced it onto a piece of paper without folds in it. I could have traced it into the book directly if I didn't have spray paint stains all over the first page, but this is also a firmer paper, so it'll be a nice strong front page now. Would you believe, somehow, this one has already ended up stained as well. So here I am fixing that with some white ink. It's really not that noticeable now. And after that, all we've got left to do is the title, which is gonna be Bits and Pieces, which I landed on because I will be adding random bits and pieces to this, but it also sounds just a little bit creepy. And if you look closely, you can already see the sketch for the other front page next to me. And by the way, a little fun fact, this is going at twice the speed. I do not work that fast. And with that finished, let's move on to the final design. Here's a messy sketch for it. I got the words down quite quickly, but then struggled quite a bit with the rest of the design, though I do like where it ended up with the irises and the ghosts. This one didn't need so many complicated middle steps though. Once I had the design done, all I had to do was trace it, first in pencil and then pen. This was my favorite part of this project. I've wanted to draw something like that for a very long time, so I was very excited to finally find a reason to do so. This little ghost in the bottom is my favorite part. And I think it was the first element I added to the sketch after the words. Here I'm adding final touches with a thinner pen. Just a bit of shading and texture for depth. And when I'm done with that, I'll be showing you the final result one more time. Here's that last design after I glued it in. I think this is all looking quite fancy at this point, and I really can't wait to start adding things in here. Let me know whether you want to see that as well. And here's the opposite side all done. That's the last bit I had to show you today, but if you wanted to see some of my other work, there will be some links in the outro. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!